All right, with us now, the 2018 Hockey East champion, Boston University Terriers. We're going to start with an open from Coach first, and then we'll take questions for the student athletes, Drew Melanson, Brandon Hickey, and Bobo Carpenter. But first, we'll start with a quick statement from Coach David Quinn. Coach.
Well, first of all, we're incredibly excited to be here. Obviously, we got here the hard way. We've had a tale of two seasons in a lot of ways, but certainly feel like we're playing our best hockey at the most important time. We kind of feel like we've been playing one-and-done hockey for about 2 months now, so we're certainly used to this type of pressure and the situation that we're in, and obviously it's an incredible field this year. Really, since I've been back as the head coach at BU, this is probably the most wide open the national tournament has been. I think all 16 teams feel like they have a chance, and rightfully so. And there's an awful lot of parity in college hockey. There's a lot of really good teams. I don't know if there's a great team. There's certainly 4 really good teams in this bracket. I think that we're in store for 2 really good hockey games. We had a great game with Cornell in November. Unfortunately, we came out on the wrong end of it. We feel like we're a much different team and a better team than we were back then, as is Cornell. And it's what makes college hockey so exciting, and I think we're all in store for a great weekend of hockey.
All right, thanks, Coach. We have 2 microphones in the room. If you have a question for the student athletes, we'll bring the mic right over. Rich in the front row here.
Hey, Rich Thompson. Brandon, just talk about bringing these freshmen along real quick in where they are right now in March.
Yeah, obviously, it's a fun time of year. I was there as a freshman as well. It's obviously a little bit nerve-wracking. You're a little bit intimidated by the bright lights and the national tournament and everything like that. But when you're a young guy, you're kind of oblivious as well too. So maybe ignorance is bliss at this point. So I think everyone's adjusting really well. Everyone's really excited to play, and the young guys bring a lot of energy, and it's really refreshing. It really re-energizes the team. So I think they're in a good spot right now. They've been playing some really mature hockey the last couple months, and I think that's really helped us have the success that we've had, is them playing like a mature bunch, like they're not freshmen, that they're like upperclassmen. So that's something that we've really focused on, and they've done a really good job of so far.
So it's a good bunch to be a captain of?
Yeah, for sure. It's been an amazing bunch to be a captain of. I wouldn't trade any of the guys in our room for anything. So I've really enjoyed the time being able to captain this team, and obviously it's not something I do alone. We have great assistant captains, and we have a great leadership core, and they do an amazing job kind of backing up Coach with what he's saying, what he's talking about, and making sure we're on the right path. So it's definitely been something that has been a strong point this year, is that core of leaders.
Next question. Rich, you have another one here? Yeah,
Just for Drew, just talk about how that first line has been playing right now.
Yeah, we've been doing great things, but we really have 2 first lines, honestly. When you look at the total goals scored, the Carpenter, Bowers, and Cockrell line really does a lot of great things for us, and it's great to play with Brady and Greeny. Obviously, those guys are 2 physically dominant players, and I think we have a good mix of speed, skill, grit. We can play a lot of ways. We like to possess the puck, and it's been really fun playing with them.
Bobo, just talk about the special teams this year.
Our power play has always kind of been the key piece in games, either helping us lose or helping us win, and I definitely think in our second half we've kind of clicked it. So it's been nice to finally get those pucks in the net. Our PK, we take pride in how hard we work on that, and it's been a real strong asset we have all season, and we trust each other out there, and I really think that's what's gotten both of them to where they are now, and hopefully they'll help us again tomorrow.
Question in the back, Jen.
Yeah, 2 questions for Drew, if he could handle them. Bernie Corbett from Hockey on Campus. First of all, Drew, what has it meant to your game to have the opportunity to play on that first unit with Greenway and Tkachuk? And secondly, how much of a contributing factor was sitting next to me on the flight home from Arizona to turning your season around?
I give all the credit to you, Bernie.
Thank you.
But yeah, I've alluded to it before, but those guys are 2 of probably the most physically dominant players, which is very impressive. Greeny with his size and Brady just being an 18-year-old kid. but they possess the puck. They put me in a ton of positions to create space and help create space for them and score goals. And I mean, I think it shows with my productivity the second I started playing with them, the second I started putting points on the board.
Jen?
Hi, Brandon, hi. Jen Tolan from the Worcester Telegram. Coach mentioned you're a much different team than you were when you played Cornell early in the season. What's the biggest difference, do you think, between then and the team you are now?
I think it's the maturity that we're playing with right now. You know, early on in the year, we were trying to score those highlight reel goals. I think everyone, like, the skill on our team really, like, everyone wanted to, like, show it off and showcase that. But, you know, since the second half of the year started, we've been kind of playing a more mature style of game, more north-south. But at the same time, being able to make those plays as you're going north-south, like, we're not forcing anything. Like, we're getting pucks in when we have to, getting pucks out when we have to, and we're taking care of the puck, which is a big thing. Because when you have the puck, it's hard for the other team to score. So it's something that we take pride in, and that, like, we control the puck, and it kind of, like, helps us dictate the pace of the game. And when we play at our pace, that's when we're our most successful. So I definitely think that's been our strong suit the second half here.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Good luck to you on Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, questions for Coach? We'll start, Rich, right here.
Dave, just talk about Jordan post-Olympics. I mean, his numbers are phenomenal. He just come back any kind of different kid or anything? Or
Yeah, I think one of the things that happens when you play in those international tournaments, and you see it happen an awful lot with the World Juniors, guys come back with a whole new level of confidence. I think that gets magnified when you go to the Olympics and have the success he had. I think he came back with a little bit more swagger, and I've said this a lot about Jordan. You know, he's not an alpha. He's not a guy that's got a lot of swagger to him. You know, he's not an alpha male. One of the things that I think he's learned to have while he's been at BU is to play with confidence. And one of the things we say to him all the time, why can't you be one of the next great American players? And, you know, I think he's slowly starting to realize how good he can be and how good he actually is. And I think he came back from the Olympics with a whole new level of confidence. And I think he understood, you know, the impact he could have at our level and how dominant he could be at our level. You know, he and I kind of talk and joke a little bit all the time about how much more productive he should be offensively. And, you know, I think he's taken that to heart. I think he's taken that to a whole new level. And, you know, we wouldn't be here without him, that's for sure. And not only because of his dominant physical play, but, you know, one of the things that I've always felt about him, putting him in center, is I think he's got great vision, he's got great hockey sense, he's a very smart player. And I think sometimes when you're 6'3", or 6'5", 230 pounds, your physical attributes get talked about a lot, as they should, but I think what gets overlooked is your intellectual play and your decision-making and your skill with the puck, and he can do all of that.
normally you'd send a guy like that into the corners. I mean, what made you want to put him in?
Because I wanted the puck on his stick, because good things happen when the puck's on his stick. He can make a play. And, you know, 6'5", 230 pounds, centermen don't fall off of trees. Forget at our level, but even at the NHL level. And I just think the other thing it does is it makes him skate a little bit more. He's not standing still as much, and when he's moving, he's a dominant player.
Jen?
Dave, you were just joking out in the hallway about people calling you for tickets, but do you like that you're closer to home this year after kind of having to go across the country the last
Yeah,
couple
without
of years?
question. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think, for all the schools here. You know, obviously us in Northeastern are really close. Cornell travels no matter where they go, and Michigan's Michigan. Michigan has a strong alumni base out here in New England, and I think it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. I know we've sold all our student tickets, and there's going to be a strong contingent for BU, as I would imagine for Cornell, Northeastern, and Michigan. So, you know, obviously going out west the last 2 years, you lose that little bit of support, but we're certainly going to have it tomorrow, and it's made a difference for us. You know, we had a great crowd at the Garden this past weekend, and our guys thrive off that.
I was just over here, people talking in the press room. They think this is the most competitive of the regionals. Do you kind of see it that way?
Well, like I said, I think this whole national tournament is incredibly competitive, and, you know, I look at the games across the country, and, you know, there's not a lot of games you go, well, I really expect that team to win. I mean, you look at, I was actually shocked yesterday reading a stat that Denver's been in the national tournament 11 times in a row. That's number one. Providence 5. That's number 2. And us 4, which is third in the country, which really shocked me. And I think it speaks to the parity of college hockey. I mean, there's a lot of good teams. The landscape of college hockey has changed an awful lot in the last 6 or 7 years with guys leaving early and, older players emerging and becoming better players. And, but I can understand why people think that with our region. I think we've got a very strong region for sure, and I could see why people think this might be the most competitive region.
In the back, Coach Joe.
Hi, Joe Piscalis, Charter TV3. Coach, you said that you've grown since your last game against Cornell at Madison Square Garden. How has your team grown? Could you go into detail about that?
Well, in a lot of ways, as Brandon was talking about, we've played a much more mature, simplistic style of hockey lately. I think there's also a lot of pieces in the right place. When you have 8 freshmen and you're moving people around, you're trying to figure out line combinations and deep pairings, and I think we've got some continuity in our lines. Our goalie has been very good. Jake's had a great second half. Our decors played a lot better. We're coming out of our end cleaner. And we feel like all 4 lines. I mean, we won that tournament this weekend because all 4 lines contributed. I know Greenway and Melanson and those guys get all the attention, but I mean, Amonte and Crone and Curry played really well. And then on Saturday night, the Phelps, Shabbat, Olsen line was outstanding for us. I mean, they played almost 11 minutes. And what that does is it allows Greenway, Kachuk, Melanson, Bowers, Cockrell, Carpenter, they don't have to play 24 minutes. And now they're better players when they're out there. So, it's all tied together. And we're truly playing like a team. Not that we weren't a team earlier in the year, but I think guys are trying to find their identity and their place in our lineup. I think there's a lot of clarity of what's expected of each guy, and they understand their roles. And one of the things that I think we're playing hockey. Not that we were playing selfish hockey before, but everybody's in the right place, we feel, and we feel like everybody's in the best place for them to succeed as individuals and collectively.
Also, analytics in hockey is fairly new, and I saw you have a full-time analytics member on the staff. How do you take those statistics and get them to the players to get them the most, let's say, resources possible?
You pick and choose what you tell them, and I don't want to overload them with too much to think. It's more for our staff. Maybe there's some glaring number that's an outlier, and maybe you want to spend a little bit more time in that area. But we don't use it, too much where it's going to completely affect our coaching. But it's certainly nice to have some stats, and it may validate what we're thinking, or it may dispute what we're thinking. And it's done both of those throughout the season.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jocko and Bernie.
Hi, Quinny. Jocko Conley, Boston Herald. Quinny, your move of Greenway from outside to center, can you recall any parallel, like in the college game like that? One I can remember is when Jerry York moved Brian Boyle, another 6'7" center, back to defense when they played Michigan State. I believe it was 2006, something like that.
Right.
Can you recall any other moves, either on the NHL or college level, that comparable?
Yeah. Well, from us, I know, 3 years ago, we moved Ati Oxenden from defense to left wing. After my first year, we won 10 hockey games, and I thought I should be selling insurance instead of coaching hockey. One of the things we noticed is, Ati had such great skills, and every time we played a cross-ice game, all he was doing was scoring goals, and then we thought, well, why don't we put him closer to the net? Because he's such a big, strong player, and, we moved him to left wing, and, he ends up scoring 25 goals a year. We played for the national championship. So I know Jerry did that with Boyle, and that made a huge difference for them. I've always, watching Jordan, I always thought he should be a center. I just thought when you're 6'5", 230 pounds, you've got the vision he has, you have the hands he has. That's the making of an ideal center. And, it frees him up a little bit more. He's not stopping and starting as much. He's moving. He's more, keeps a big body moving. And when he's skating, he's dangerous. And, he's such a smart player. I think, and I said this earlier, his physicality gets talked about a lot. But, the thing I love about him is when you're that big and that smart, you've got a special player.
Bernie back here.
Yeah, Coach Quinn, Bernie Corbett, where, Men's Health Magazine.
Everywhere,
once a year.
really.
Yep, true. just to give a little bit, maybe elaborate a little bit more about the renaissance of Jake Ottinger during the second half of the year, some of what he went through the first half of the year and how he's emerged from that. Was it as simple as playing outdoors in front of 60,000 people?
Pressure on these kids is real today, and I don't know if people really understand it. Jake's a kid, and he'd probably be the first to tell you he didn't have the first half he wanted. And you get drafted in the first round. You're going to play on the World Junior team. There's talk that you might make the Olympic team. There's a lot going on in his head, and to the fault of nobody. I mean, that's just the world we live in today. And, as he was going through the first half and people were asking me about him, the one thing I kept saying is, well, let's see what happens and how he handles this situation when he actually turns 19 years old. And I think what can get lost in all of this, because he's 6'5", people forget he's a kid. And he was an 18-year-old kid. And I had zero doubt that Jake Ottinger was going to be an elite goalie again. And you go through peaks and valleys. That's just sports. And, I'm not surprised he turned his season around, and I am not surprised we turned our season around. And, we were 8-11. Things didn't look too good, and we were reeling, and we just chipped away at it. And he really led the charge for sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, Coach, thank you very much. Good luck to
you.
you tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Boston University and Cornell.